In the heart of Greenwich Village, New York, where cobblestone streets wind beneath ancient trees and flickering yellow streetlights, there is a place where time seems to stand still. 14 West 10th Street, a brownstone house with darkened windows, stands like a ghost amid the bustling city. They call it the House of Death, not because of its aged appearance or moss-covered walls, but because of what hides within, things that do not belong to the world of the living. This house, they say, holds 22 souls, ghostly figures bound by an ancient curse, unable to pass on, unable to leave. Imagine standing before the house on a freezing winter night, as thick fog creeps through the narrow alleys. The pale moonlight hits the window panes, but the light never pierces the glass, as if the darkness inside is swallowing every ray. Neighbors say if you stand there long enough, you'll feel a cold breath down your neck like someone is breathing just behind you. Some swear they've heard whispers, indistinct and eerie, seeping from the cracks in the walls, as if the house itself is trying to tell a story no one dares to hear. More than a century ago, in 1900, the great writer Mark Twain once lived in this house. He didn't stay long, but what he experienced haunted him for life. In his journal, Twain wrote that each night, he felt invisible eyes watching him from the shadows. He described slow, steady footsteps on the old wooden stairs, but when he opened the door, the hallway was dead silent. One night, Twain awoke suddenly as the oil lamp flickered violently, like a phantom wind had swept through. He saw a faint figure in a white suit standing at the foot of his bed, its eyes empty like two bottomless voids. "Who's there?" Twain whispered, but only the wind replied, and the figure melted into the darkness. But the house's true darkness did not end with Twain. In 1987, a horrific tragedy stained its walls with blood. Lisa Steinberg, a 6-year-old girl with innocent eyes and a pure smile, lived in the house with her adoptive parents. But her adoptive father, Joel Steinberg, was no father at all. He was a monster in human skin. In a small upstairs room, Lisa was savagely beaten, her screams echoing through the halls. But no one heard, no one came. When police found her, her small body was cold, eyes wide open, still frozen in terror. They say her spirit never left. On quiet nights, a child's sobs can be heard from that room, faint but chilling, a cry for help trapped in time. Those who have entered the house say that the moment they step inside, a pressure weighs on their chest, like the air is thick with pain and resentment. Some hear gentle knocks on the walls, steady like a heartbeat, but when they try to find the source, the sound moves. It lures them into dark hallways where light seems forbidden. One former tenant recalled that on a stormy night, she saw a tiny handprint on the inside of a window, though the house was empty. When she approached, the print vanished, but a child's laugh echoed from upstairs, sharp and otherworldly. Number 14 is not just a house. It is a gateway, a place where the line between life and death blurs. Its old walls seem soaked with sorrowful memories, and every brick holds a secret. They say if you stand before the house at exactly 3 a.m., the devil's hour, the windows glow with a strange blue light as if something inside is watching. And if you dare to look straight at the window, you may see Lisa's ghost standing there. Her face pale as death, eyes bleeding red, smiling at you, as if inviting you in, to stay forever. Crossing the threshold of 14 West 10th Street feels like stepping into another world, where light is strangled and the air is thick like liquid. Those who've entered, whether ghost hunters, psychics, or curious visitors, all speak of a bone-chilling cold that doesn't come from the weather, but from something that lives in the shadows. It creeps along the walls, slips through the cracks of the old wooden floors, and squeezes the hearts of anyone who dares stay too long. This house does not welcome you, watches you. It waits for you to make a mistake. A team of ghost hunters once came here in 2003, bringing voice recorders and infrared cameras to capture proof of the trapped souls. They chose the room on the second floor where Lisa Steinberg took her last breath. When they turned on the recorder, the air grew heavy as if the room was breathing with them. Later in the playback, beneath the white noise, a faint girl's voice whispered, "Don't go, stay with me." But what truly chilled them wasn't the words. It was the giggle that followed, as if someone was standing right behind them, whispering into their ears. When they turned around, the hallway was empty, but the camera captured a small shadow darting past the doorway, so fast it seemed unreal. But Lisa is not the only spirit in the house. People speak of a man in a white suit, believed to be Mark Twain, who often appears at the third-floor window. On nights thick with fog, passers-by swear they see him standing there, empty eyes like black holes staring down at the empty street. Once, a brave neighbor dared to look straight into the window, searching for that figure. But what he saw was not Twain. It was a distorted face, twisted and shapeless, with a grin stretched unnaturally wide, as if it knew he was watching. He ran home and locked his door, but all through the night, steady knocking echoed from outside, even though no one was there. The house seems to have a life of its own. The chandelier in the living room sometimes sways gently, even without wind. Light bulbs, even freshly replaced, often flicker and then go dark exactly at 3 a.m., the hour when the veil between worlds is thinnest. A tenant from 2010 said that one night she awoke to a crushing weight on her chest. When she opened her eyes, she saw a tiny ice-cold hand clutching her collar. In the darkness, she heard a whisper, "Play with me." She screamed and turned on the light, but the room was empty. Only the faint scent of damp earth remained, as if a grave had just been opened. The basement is the most terrifying place in the house. No one dares go down there alone. Those who have tried describe the feeling of being watched, like dozens of invisible eyes piercing their backs. A psychic once claimed the basement was the dark heart of the house, where a malevolent force holds souls captive, refusing to let them go. She heard children laughing, but not with joy. It was a warped, twisted laughter, strangled by pain. When she touched the cold stone wall, she felt slow, heavy beats, like the house was alive, breathing and hungry. Even the objects inside are restless. An antique mirror in the living room, said to belong to the home's first residents, often reflects images that shouldn't be there. One tenant shared that during a blackout, she looked into the mirror and saw a little girl standing behind her, eyes rolled white, blood dripping from the corners of her mouth. When she turned around, no one was there, but the mirror suddenly cracked down the center, as if struck by an invisible force. The sound of shattering glass rang out, blending with a child's laughter from somewhere deep in the dark. Number 14 is not just a home to restless spirits. It is a trap, an invitation from the shadows, waiting for the curious to step inside and never leave again. 14 West 10th Street is not just a place where spirits dwell. It is a living entity, a breathing tomb, a trap woven from blood and sorrow. Those who've stepped inside have felt its power, an ancient, malevolent force hiding in peeling walls, beneath creaking floors, and in shadows too deep to face. The house doesn't want you to leave. It wants you to stay, to become a part of it, forever bound by an unending curse. In 2015, a famous psychic named Clara entered the house, determined to confront its spirits. She walked in with confidence, carrying a crucifix and holy water. But just minutes later, she ran out pale-faced, her eyes wide with terror. Clara said that when she stepped into the living room, the air thickened, like she was wading through a sea of freezing fog. She heard whispers from every direction, voices overlapping, pleading, moaning, and giggling. As she tried to chant prayers to expel the evil, a frigid gust blew through, snuffing out every candle she had brought. In the darkness, she saw a small figure, Lisa Steinberg, standing in the corner, her eyes rolled white, blood streaming from her mouth, wearing a twisted smile. "Play with me," the girl's voice said, but it didn't come from her lips. It came from the wall behind Clara. She ran. But even after leaving the house, she swore she still felt an invisible hand gripping her wrist, trying to pull her back. Tenants who came after never stayed long. A young couple moved in during 2018, thinking the ghost stories were just rumors. But after just a few nights, they began hearing steady knocks at 3 a.m., always from the basement door. When they opened it, a stench like rotting flesh rose up, though the basement was empty. One night, the wife awoke to a crushing pressure on her chest. In the dim glow of the nightlight, she saw a tall, faceless shadow standing at the foot of the bed, silently watching. When she screamed, the figure vanished, but the floor where it stood was damp as if soaked in water. They left the next morning, abandoning everything, never daring to return. The house seems to mark those who enter. A neighbor recalled that on a full moon night, he saw strange blue lights flickering in the third-floor window, like a signal. Looking closer, he realized it wasn't light. It was dozens of glowing eyes floating in the darkness, staring down at the street. He collapsed in fear. And ever since that night, he hears knocks coming from the direction of the house, even though he lives 2 blocks away. The basement, the dark heart of the house, is a place even the bravest ghost hunters won't linger in for long. One investigation team left a camera recording there, but when they reviewed the footage, it was distorted. Only twisted images remained, showing a little girl in the corner, her arms bent like dry, broken branches. Her laughter echoed in the video, though no one had heard it in real time. One member later said that since that night, he's had recurring dreams of being dragged into the basement, cold hands choking him, a voice whispering, "Stay, forever." 14 West 10th Street is a warning, not just a home to trapped souls, but a starving entity. It feeds on the fear and pain of those bold enough to enter. Though it is now a private residence, no one stays longer than a few months. Neighbors say that on quiet nights they hear a lullaby, a little girl's voice, drifting from the house. But no one dares check. The curse still lives, still waits, and the house remains open, inviting the next victim into eternal darkness.